What's going on, guys? We're kind of pushing this most recent high here. Hourly chart looks pretty bullish. We've bounced off of the 20, 10, and 5-day moving average. Last hour candle kind of a little indecisive. We got a little bit more of a top wick on that previous hour candle, but this hour candle is holding up here. So I'm very curious to see what we're going to do on the next 3 minutes here as we open up a new candle. We're kind of just playing with a little bit of profits here. We're not going to think too much of it. I would like to see one more push up here into power hour just to kind of see if we can get some type of boost, but you know, we'll have to see how the market wants to treat us. So just got filled here on this position. We're going to see if it wants to play a little bit. The only thing I don't really like about taking a trade this close into a new hour candle is that you tend to get a pullback, right? So you'll tend to get one more pullback, and if the market's still going to be strong, then it's going to find that support and then it's going to go. So going to kind of have to really monitor it closely. The only thing we really have going for us in our favor here is we're trying to manage the risk pretty tight to the vest, not trading that much size. You know, especially this late in the day, you know, you really don't want to give up too much, right, guys? So that's the only thing I don't like about this particular area. Again, when I am looking to take a trade off of the 1 hour time frame, I've got it to the left of my screen here. But when I'm looking to take a trade off of the 1 hour time frame, I kind of know going in I'm gonna have to sit in this trade a little bit longer than just that quick scalp, right? So, you know, sometimes you get stuck in a little bit of a pullback here, right? So we'll have to see what happens here in the next couple of minutes. I got a stop loss just down below the 20 SMA on this 5-minute time frame. So as long as we're kind of holding this 20 SMA, I'm willing to just kind of sit here, sit back a little bit and let the market kind of do its thing. I do have a Bollinger Band that's sitting up at 25,152. Not saying that we're going to get that far up in power hour, but definitely has room if it wants to continue. So we'll just be a little bit patient here and see what the market wants to do. Curious to know how everyone else is doing today. I've really been thinking about starting like a live stream series where I go out and I buy a bunch of a bunch of evaluation accounts, and I try to work a specific risk to reward ratio and just kind of, you know, take a lot of trades but take small trades, and kind of seeing how the math plays out in terms of finding that kind of sweet spot risk to reward ratio where, you know, not any one trade's going to put you in too much drawdown in your account, and kind of just letting variance play out to where, you know, that, you know, if you hit at a, let's say 62 to 70 or 62 to 68% win rate, you should be pretty profitable after 30 to 45 days. Whole thing is just kind of sticking to the plan, right? What makes it hard is that when you do take a loss, you want to immediately jump back in and get those profits back. That's what makes it a little bit difficult for a lot of traders when you're trading prop firms. So the main thing is that's probably why I would go out and buy like 10 accounts. So if I have like 10 accounts, what I'm thinking, and we kind of risk like $150 to $250 a day, ultimately, you know, I could take 10 trades in a day, right? With 10 accounts. Each specific setup gets tied to a different account, you know, not keeping anything, not to say that I have to only trade one particular setup on this account and another setup on this account. Just basically it'd be like this, right? I'm currently in a trade. If this trade loses, fine. If I get another setup, I drop down the menu, I open up another one of the other accounts that I have. Trade number 2, based on whatever setup I got, goes in that account. If that trade's a winner, you know, we have the option, maybe we want to continue to trade that account, or we drop down in the menu, we go into another account. So ultimately, that gives me room to take 8 to 10 trades a day, right? And not necessarily saying I'm gonna want to even take all those trades. Some days I might take 2 or 3 trades and they might be winning trades, and then I can just kind of walk away on the day. So we'll see. I think it might be a little fun, as I think a lot of times things that gets lost in translation is like sometimes you open up accounts and you do really well for like 3 or 4 days, and then it's like boom, one day you just give everything back and you blow everything up, right? So really try to stick through like a 45-day process from start to finish. And then during that process, okay, this is the variance that comes along with a strategy that wins 65% of the time. You might get 2 or 3 days in a row that are absolute losers. How do you manage that? How do you come back from that? How can you stay disciplined through that, right? I think the benefit, again, when you're trading prop firms is having multiple accounts, right? That way you should never really get too beat up. You should never really get too hard pressed on yourself to ever get one losing trade back, right? Because moral of the story, just log into another account if you get another setup, and you could just take a fresh setup on a fresh account. So I would say the sweet spot would be 8 to 10 accounts, bare minimum. Again, think about it. Apex right now, 80% off sale. You get these accounts for what, $35? So if you spend $350, you can take 10 trades a day. That's how I would kind of manage the risk. Like, that's how I'm looking to try to set something up like that, for the sole purpose of trying to teach other traders out there, like, this is the ups and the downs of prop firm trading. This is the ups and the downs of day trading, period, because it's not easy. For every good day you have where you throw on 2 or 3 contracts and you hit, $500, $1,000, you get that next day that just boom, first trade out of the gates just completely goes against you. You're down 25, 35 points. You're down $1,500, right? We've all been there. We've all been there. You've all had those trades where you take 2 or 3 winning trades, you trade, size that's safe, and then you lose taking size that's way too big, right? We've all done it. We've all been there. So how do you really manage the emotions? How do you really manage the mindset? I'm a firm believer in you got to trade often. I'm not a big advocate in someone who likes to sit there and back test for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, hundreds and hundreds of trades. Once you've back tested once, you've got a strategy, it works. There's a set of probabilities and percentages that go along with that particular strategy. It's time to get into the ring of fire and start taking those trades. Paper trading or just journaling trades or watching, price action on a day in and day out basis, telling yourself, oh, well, if I was trading today, I would be able to make some cash. Fuck that. What I believe is get in there, get into the market, start taking trades. Take a lot of trades, take it with small size, and really have a lot of accounts. Again, remember, if you had a big account, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 in live capital, do you think you're going to be really stressing out about a $100 loss, a $200 loss? Not really, right? You're just going to get right back into the markets and start firing. So the prop firms kind of give us that benefit. It gives us that benefit to where you can essentially, like if you think about it, for Apex example, $2,500 worth of drawdown. If you go out there and you buy 10 accounts, you got a $25,000 account. It's just spread out between little micro evaluations, little micro funded accounts, right? So again, currently long here. I'm just looking to add a little cherry on top to the day. Currently up $299.50 in this one particular account. We took 3 trades. We're up about $20 here. I'm trading 3 micros. So I'm really looking at the hourly chart on the side monitor here. We're trying to take out the previous hour high. Previous hour high was sitting at 25,120. So I'm looking for like a little push. Don't know if I'm going to get it. Kind of looking at like a little bit of a sweep here and then probably a back test back down into 111s. So again, I might just clip it here and say, hey, $20 trade, fuck it, right? We're up over $300 a day. I'm just going to clip it as it's starting to pull back. So I didn't really get shit on this trade. 307. The only reason being, I did have like a small stop loss. It's just the reason being, it's like, I'm not really too comfortable right here when I feel like there's more potential for the pullback before the go. But again, the market's been bouncing since 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So, 9, 10, 11, 12 for the previous 4 hours since we hit these lows down here, 24,000. We can just basically call it 25,000. Since 25,000, it's just been a straight shoot up, right? Again, power hour is not really my bread and butter here. I like to normally trade the first 2 hours of the market, but the market does look good long. It still looks good long. 25,150. 25,150 would be a target. Kind of want to see what this first 5-minute candle does, or see what the following candle does after the opening new hour candle. Because if you believe that the market's going to continue to push higher into power hour, you're expecting a pullback, right? So you're expecting a pullback. So for example, if I put this trade on short here, this is just for an example. If you believe the market's going to pull back before going up, then maybe you're targeting, 5 to 10 points on a little bit of a pullback, and maybe you're using this high wick as a stop loss, right? So if I was to kind of tighten down this stop loss to just right above this most recent high, and I just look for this pullback into support, maybe you catch a little bit, right? Maybe you can catch some pullback. Again, you have to kind of think about it. If you're expecting the market to go up on a fresh new candle, wouldn't it be kind of safe to say it pulls back first to test support, kind of gain that momentum, and then shoot up? Like, for example, we're just putting little pieces to the puzzle here, and we're going to log in another $20 trade. So quickly you start to go from, this is how I kind of piece my days together, right? So when I started this stream, we're up just shy of $300. We're up $290 or some shit like that. You make on a trade, you put an idea out there, you take $20 here, you take $30 there. On these little ideas, right? You can slowly take a $290 day to a $330 day, a $330 day to a $350 day. You don't always have to hit the multi-$100 trades, right? A lot of people think that you need to hit these big extravagant trades. And when you're analyzing the market, you always want to analyze the market in terms of what the higher time frame is doing. Because I hate to break it to you guys, there's like a lot of people throw around the word edge, right? Oh, does your strategy have edge? How much edge is it? We need an edge on the market. I'm going to tell you this. Nobody has any edge. There's not one strategy that has edge. What you have is a mechanical probability. So based on the setup, the strategy that you're trading, mechanically you need to have a stop. Mechanically you need to have a take profit. Mechanically you need to be smart enough in between the ears to say, okay, I'm up X amount of dollars, I need to fucking walk away. I'm down this amount of dollars, I need to fucking walk away, right? So mechanically you got to be a little clear between the ears. You can't be a degenerate, you can't be a gambler. It might work every once in a while, but if you plan on doing this shit long term, and you plan on doing this shit without jumping out of the 10-story building for a long enough time, you're going to have a little bit of a mechanical probability that you can work around. So when I go back to saying, I want to fire a bunch of these little micro trades throughout the day and kind of test my theory, right? I want to manage my risk with position size. So always, could I have made on this one particular account $1,300 today? Sure. If I was trading one mini contract, yeah, maybe it would be $1,300. For every trader out there, for every person out there learning this game, there's always that common misconception. Well, if your strategy works at X percentage of the time, why not trade one mini contract? Why not trade for $1,300 in profit today versus the $328 that I'm at? The reason being is because on the losses, it's not going to be a $100 loss. It's not going to be a $150 loss. It's not going to be a $200 loss that I'm facing. It's going to be closer to a $700 loss. It's going to be closer to a $400 loss, a $1,000 loss. And with $50,000 accounts, $2,500 drawdown, I don't have enough wiggle room to put on that much risk. Now, can I float, right? Can I float a mini contract here, 2 mini contracts here? I got a great example. On another prop firm account that I have, a funded account with Top Step, I have like a $3,500 cushion, meaning there's a balance in that account. I opened up a trade today with 1 mini contract. There was some big momentum. It was this trade right here. Hopefully my drawing tool works. So what I was looking at was, I looked at this current low of day, and then I looked at the sweep, right? And we put in a new low. Once we bounced and back tested and I seen this higher low get established, now I can use this candle as an absolute stop. So it put a stop loss down here below this range. I fired into 1 mini contract here. As we broke through the 20 SMA, I'm not gonna lie, I shitted on 4 more contracts. So I got up to 5 mini contracts on this move here and took close to 20 points on that move. So very good move, but those are not trades that I'm looking to take often. Like, I'm not coming into the day each and every single day saying, oh yeah, I want to scale in, start with 1 mini and go all the way up to 5. Like, it's very few in between. Like that I'll do that like once every 2 weeks. Like, I gotta really feel it. And again, what does that even mean? What does that mean to really feel it? You that's on you, right? That's on you. So everyone's different. But a lot of the times I'm trading like this, guys. I'm trading, 3-4 micro contracts. I'm looking for 10-15 points. I got probably like a 20 to 25 point stop loss. And again, those are the 24 point stop loss. Like right now I'm running a bracket, 24 point stop loss, 18 point target. That does not mean that I'm looking for a full 18 points. If I get into a trade and that shit goes up 10 points, 12 points quickly, I'll take my money all day long, right? If I kind of get into a trade and I've been sitting in it for a few minutes and it was meant to be a scalp, I'll cut it down to 8 points, 9 points, 10 points. I don't care, right? That bracket that I have on there is just like 24 points is my max pain. Like if I'm in a trade and I'm down more than 24 points, fuck, I got a bad entry or I just got trapped, right? And no need to overanalyze it. It is what it is. That's just what happened, right? And if I'm in a trade and it manages to go up fast and it fills me for 18 points, great, right? Great. Then we just hit full profit on it. And I come to those numbers based on the 5-minute time frames ATR. So if you were to go look at your ATR right now on a 5-minute time frame, let me actually pull it up on my side screen. Right now, the ATR is 13 points on a 5-minute time frame. So I'm a little bit stretched on this 24.18. But the reason why I came up on the 24.18 is on average during the time that I trade, which is typically 30 minutes off the open and it's typically into lunchtime. The average true range on a 5-minute time frame is between like 20 and 35 points. So what I did is I did a little math. I came up with a number in between that ATR. It gives me enough space to kind of withstand some volatility, max pain 24 points. And on a best case scenario, I'm trying to get 1-to-1 on that 5-minute ATR. Does it always work out that way? No, but they're numbers that I've kind of settled into that are pretty comfortable to me that I can just continue to trade, right? So we'll kind of see exactly what's going to happen here to kind of end the day. Again, price action right now, short time frame, small time frames, bullish. I do have a Bollinger Band that's kind of holding us up here at 25,124. I do have a lot of support below us, 25,100, 25,096, 25,088. So the market's definitely just grinding higher right now. Top supply would be 25,145, 25,145. I'm kind of just monitoring the 1-hour time frame right now because I do feel that this dead cat bounce, it has retraced about 50%. So if I was to pull up a Fibonacci on this 1-hour time frame from absolute high of day to low of day, we are reclaiming the 50 and 61.8% retracement. So price action is bullish. I would say that it's not really looking to short until we get down below 25,085. Yeah, 25,085. So everything in between that, I would say, is a pretty good spot where the bulls can kind of step in and bounce this market. So just be very careful if you are trying to catch this top and you are trying to short. You can still get bounced from anything above 25,085. Okay, so we'll kind of see how that plays out. So we are getting this pullback. I'd like to see the pullback here off of in the response off of the 20 SMA. 1-hour candle does look a little bearish. On the 1-hour candle. Until we can pull back successfully, in my opinion, to about 25,090s, I'd like to see the 20 SMA at least get tested. If it can get tested and hold, be a pretty good spot for a long. maybe target this swing high here. But again, remember what I said. If you are still bullish on the market, wouldn't you want to see that pullback? You want to see the pullback if you're bullish, right? So there's scalpers who can get in here and you can actually kind of trade short against the trend. Because if you can identify that, yeah, for the last 2 to 3 hours the market's been bouncing, and you think that the market's going to continue to bounce, wouldn't it, you know, like I said, is it like, can't you trade that pullback into support, get out, let the buyers gobble it up and then push it higher? And if you're just completely want to stay with that trend, then let it pull back, guys. Let it pull back. You know, patience. That's the number one thing here. It's you got to have patience. And I think that's what screws a lot of us up a lot of times, is we don't have fucking patience, right? We're kind of looking at every candlestick like, what the hell can I do here now, right? We believe it's going higher, so I want to just fire long now. We believe it's going to pull back. Okay, great. Let's just fire short. That's what gets us into a lot of trouble a lot of times. It's gotten me into a lot of trouble over the years. It's like a muscle, right? Discipline and patience is kind of like a muscle. You gotta have to train it. You gotta train that muscle. I'd like to see a little bit of a faster pullback here, right? I want to see this 20 SMA get swept. That's what I'm waiting for. I don't know if it's going to do it. This 10 is holding up pretty good. You can actually use this low wick as a stop here. The risk is not even that much. It's like 5 points risk. If we can reclaim this 5 SMA, I might give it a go. Because realistically, from high to low, we are pulling back. We're trying to hold the 61.8 on the fib. So this hammer candle does look nice here. It is low risk, guys. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a shot here. Stop loss gonna be below the previous 5-minute candle low. Again, I was fully expecting it to come down here and test the 20 SMA. It could still very well do that, which is it will stop me out, but the risk is so low, it's worth a little bit of a stab here to see if they can build some momentum. It's kind of just trapped right now between the 5 and 10-day moving average. One of those is going to have to give way. Whichever side gives way, whichever way the candlestick closes, is probably going to be the short-term momentum. looking a little, we're getting a little jumpy here. Kind of the second time it's failed to get over this 5 SMA. Now, if this does bounce and it spikes a little bit and it kind of fails to take out this most recent high, I can see a lower high being put in and then a reversal that will continue to kind of bleed into the close. I can see that for sure, because you got to think about it. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 5th hour where we've been steadily bouncing. So, you know, how much are the buyers still interested here? We're still below the low of day, like kind of just pulled back into the middle of this range. I'm not really getting shit. This is a little too slow for my liking. This is why I don't really trade power hour. Not enough momentum for me. Okay, getting a little bit of a pop here, but not too convincing here. We're still, what do we got? We got about a minute left on this 5-minute candle. Yeah, it's getting rejected again at that 5 SMA. Don't know how good I feel about it. This 1 hour candle is just kind of floating in fucking no man's land too. Normally my trades, you know, longest trade that I'm in is about 10 minutes. That's the longest trade that I'll be in. A lot of the trades that I look to take is a lot of momentum. So, you know, they normally last between 1 and 3 minutes. So when I start getting into where I've been in a trade for a handful of minutes, I start to get really restless because I'm a momentum style trader, right? Like if I'm not getting momentum in my favor, I tend to get restless. And I look at the chart as like an employee, right? These candlesticks are your employee. You want them to be actively working for you, or you want to fire them. So here's a little bit of a close over that 5 SMA. I'd like to see one more little bit of a pop up here. I don't want to see a failure. I want to get over this previous 5-minute candle here, and I want to start pushing these highs and maybe somewhere in the middle here. But like I said, remember, if we do put in a lower high right here, this could be the lower high for the pull back, okay? There's a good little pop. We're just going to take another 20 bucks there. So again, been on this stream. I don't even know how long we've been on this stream. 30 minutes. So 30 minutes, just kind of taking these small ideas, kind of building up the bank. We started at about $290. We're up about another 50, 60 bucks here. That trade, I mean, did it work out great? No, but it's working, right? It's definitely working. So again, you know, just be cautious about this high of day here. You know, be cautious of this high of day. What you're really looking at here is if this doesn't get taken and we kind of stay sitting right here, then what's going to happen? You're going to get that pullback, right? So just kind of see. If your intentions was to snag the high of day, you're taking profits right here, right now. Just confirming the previous hour candle low. You're confirming you swept the previous hour hour candle high. You just swept the hour candle high, the previous one, and that's a good little target there for a little scalp, right? That was a perfect target, perfect little target there. You know, you got the 3 candle pullback into your rising support, kind of get long off that support. Again, remember where I got into the trade, you kind of use, again, if I'll use my drawing tool, here's your 3 candle pullback. Pulls right back into the 10 SMA. You're kind of using that low as your defined risk. You've got a rising support here, 20 SMA. We bounced off it once here. We bounced off it twice here. So this is a firm level of support, okay? So your stop loss is going to go there. And then you're kind of getting in on the momentum push off that 10 SMA. And you're kind of targeting somewhere in the middle of that recent high or somewhere in the middle of that range, right? You're kind of just trying to take that little bit of a scalp. So as you start to push up here, just be cautious. Just be cautious, right? Don't be a greedy son of a bitch. Just get your money and get out. That's all you're trying to do. Get your money and get out. Good pop there, right? Great pop. Again, and you want to stay with the trend, right? So notice how, like, if you guys were watching, I wasn't right here trying to say, okay, I want to go short this because I think the market's going to pull all the way down. Why would I do that, right? That's not what you're looking for. You know, if anything, if you're thinking about using this high as a stop, well, then you're shorting into support. You're shorting into support, but you got to get the hell out when you touch those supports, right? Get out of those trades. So you're mainly looking for new high, pull back, get long. New high, pull back, get long. That's what you're looking for. New high, pull back, get long, right? That's how you can kind of stay with the trend until you start closing below a previous candle low, below a previous candle low, below a previous candle low. Until you start taking out some of these previous lows, you can't really think about getting short. Until you take out this support, you can't really think about getting short. Think about these 2 moving averages. This is a 10 SMA and a 20 SMA. Think about this as support, right? This is all support, just a nice big wave. You're trading over the wave, right? So what are you doing? You're riding the fucking wave. Ride the fucking wave. Now, if you get up on the surfboard and you get smoked and now the wave crashed down on you and price is trading below the wave, well, guess what? It's going to be hard to get your head above water if you're trading below the wave, right? Or trying to go against the wave. So just think about it that way. Like, use little analogies like that for yourself. You know, those kind of things will help. So that's it, guys. Just wanted to kind of jump on here, see how everyone was doing, see if I could find a trade to take during power hour. That's going to be it. You know, I'm not going to really trade too much closer to the close. Remember, guys, Apex 80% off is back again. Yeah, I know they always run sales, right? But the deal is the $85 activation fee is worth it. You know, that's what makes this sale good. So if you guys want to use my discount code DEEANTHONY, you guys can use it. I'll catch all of you guys. I'll probably come on tomorrow, actually. I want to try to come on tomorrow at open. So if you guys want to trade with me during the open, definitely subscribe. Make sure you guys are checking my channel. I'll be on at open tomorrow, or just a little after open, and we'll see if we can catch a couple moves. I do like the pullback here from now, though. Kind of using this as a hard line in the sand. But I'll catch you guys.